Everybody, welcome back to Start the Snowball podcast, where we help you find and grow your side hustle to earn your freedom. And this is episode 4. My name is Corey Miller, one of your hosts today with Brad Osborne. Today, we're going to talk about this awesome thing. This is your idea, and I loved it, Brad. Finding product market fit. Why it's important. We're going to talk about how to go about it. We're going to give some case studies if we have time, and just kind of unlock this little concept that is, you discovered it a couple months ago. I've heard about it for sure, but all of us entrepreneurs know we live this product market fit.
Yeah, I definitely knew what it was before I knew it had a name. I mean, I've definitely
Yeah.
experienced it many times in business, and it wasn't until a couple months ago that I started hearing people talk about product market fit, and I was like, oh, that's what that's called. And it's very, very important.
So it's very, very important. Leave it up to venture capitalists. I think this was kind of coined by some venture capital firms. We'll put in the show notes, but it's a Silicon Valley type thing, but it is exactly what you said. All of us entrepreneurs are trying to find it. And really, you want to talk about what it is first?
Well, so my understanding of it is basically it's when a business finds a product that, I mean, it's right there in the name, a product that fits a certain market. So that's when sales start happening without having to force them. You know, it's like this magical moment when it just clicks, when the message that you're putting out, the product that you're putting out clicks for a market that you're targeting. And then revenue starts coming, excitement starts coming, your marketing gets really effective, your ad dollars are profitable, and all these awesome things start happening. That's my understanding. Would you
Yeah.
add anything to that, Corey?
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's dialing it in, it's knowing that none of us have a crystal ball of the future and, think we have the perfect solution. That there's always a unicorn out there, I'm sure, who, oh, I want to do this, this, and this, and that's a multi-billion-dollar business or whatever. Good luck to that. But I'm not a leprechaun. I don't have a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. For the rest of us mortals, it's figuring it out. And that's what it is, figuring out the equation of what it's going to take to create a sustainable business. I think about businesses being, now they should do purposeful work in the world, right? I don't ever want to be involved with something that does nefarious stuff. But if you do the equation of you're helping make people's lives better, your business should be a cash machine. You put effort in or something in one side and the other side becomes cash. Now it's not all about cash for me, certainly in you, but that's in theory. And this product market fit is just finding those unique ingredients to match up and go, there, the equation's right. And it's elusive and it's not forever. You know, I've learned through my businesses, it's the hardest thing. That's why nobody starts a business. Hardly anybody starts a business because it's the hardest thing. And it takes trial and error. And we're going to hopefully get to the question of when do I quit and should I keep going, But that's my impression of product market fit, but it's what we're all trying to find, especially in the startup stages.
Yeah, and even the famous companies that we think of as having found some magical product that everybody just started buying, the more you dig into their story, none of them actually had that story. They all tested, they all tried a lot of different things before they found their product market fit. A lot of companies were entirely different products before they became what we know them to be now. So a lot of companies will start out as one thing that they think is going to be good, and then they keep testing ideas, and then they find, one part of their product is really popular, so they make the whole product about that feature. Or, so a lot of products that we think were just a great idea are actually part of this iterative process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You and I have been going through a book called Disciplined Entrepreneurship, 24 Steps to a Successful Startup by Bill Aulet, I think, Aulet. And I love it because it's more step-by-step process for what I've kind of known, trudged through. You have too, of this thing we call entrepreneurship. It's so much an expedition to me, where we don't know from day to day what's is there a swamp on the other side of this hill, snakes, alligators, hostile folk on the other side. Like you never know. And as best as done definitely in my second stage of my entrepreneurial career is try to get a little bit more precise about creating and stuff, and product market fit really helps me think through that. Do we have this right? You solve that nut now, crack the nut now, and you may have to come back to it because market shift, customer shift, product competition, all that stuff shifts. But it's a great concept to think about it. So let's talk about how we go about it, Brad. You and I are very similar alike in that we're not afraid to put something out there, as evidenced by this being episode 4.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
the short space when we would do this.
Yeah, this is a perfect example. We haven't yet found the product market fit for this business, this venture of Start the Snowball, but we're just putting stuff out there and trying things out and seeing what we like. Now we're starting to define some audiences we'd like to talk to, and we're gonna keep refining the process. So you can always go back and watch our journey, and we're gonna record it in some fashion as we go. So yeah, that's
If you think you figured it out ahead of time, you're probably wrong. I'll say that to
yeah.
people. And how we go about things is like we even talked about naming this whole thing something to do with laboratory or experiment, because so much of what we're doing is we're trying to figure it out as we go. This is why I think most people don't do entrepreneurship, is because there's not a ready-made map for it. A career path to be a doctor, an engineer, lawyer, whatever, you've got a lot of examples. For entrepreneurship, so much is I think we're making it up as we go. And that's why I think about this as discovery. Like I've started to think about it as if I tell anybody what I do every day, it's like I'm in a laboratory trying to figure these puzzles out, which is how to make money, the product market fit kind of game. And it's aha entrepreneurship. It's eureka. Like
Yeah.
today was a good day for me. I found some eurekas, but tomorrow it'd be like, this sucks. I'm pushing the snowball up a hill kind of thing. But you and I like to put tests out specifically, like we've worked together on ads where we're spending money and not knowing what's going to come back. But we've gone, this is our best bet forward to figure it out. And that's a balancing act there.
Yeah, every ad is a new test. It's a new test for a product market fit in a small way, right? Yeah, we both love testing. We both love learning. I mean, that's why I love working with you in your portfolio of businesses, because I get to see different tests to different types of people across the different businesses. That's what I've always loved about, marketing, affiliate marketing. Even another thing that I'm into is because it's not attached to one specific, like a lot of people, inventors or something, like they have their one product that they've made, their one little baby. And so the challenge for them can be a lot more difficult because you and I are comfortable with the chaos. We're comfortable with discomfort and not knowing and not having a plan every day. But to the person who goes, all right, I made my one thing, now I got to go sell it, that can be a lot more difficult. We've changed our product. That's the thing. We're changing what until you find product market fit, your product doesn't really even matter that much, right? Like that's one perspective I have, is like you can change your product based on what people want. Yeah. This is what a lot of people get wrong, and that's why they get frustrated with entrepreneurship, because they come in with an idea of what they think is supposed to work.
Yeah,
but we know that's not typically how it works.
Yeah, I hate the thought of just like we have to have a business plan for something. I hate it because you can spend so much on it. Feels like an academic exercise. And I'm much rather in our camp, which is put something out there and see how it does. Now we're informed about how we do that, but we just don't have a 20-page business plan that's BS, honestly, because it hasn't been out tested in the market. And the real test is, will somebody give me $1 or more money than it took in time, effort, all that stuff to build, produce, whatever, deliver something to them? That's the magical equation.
I love that you just mentioned that. I thought of it as like, well, I know there's another concept called 0 to 1, but I just heard Noah Kagan talk about the 0 to $1 velocity. So he loves the idea. I mean, he's been talking about this for like 10 years of starting a business in a day, a weekend, an hour. Like he's always like, how quickly, faster, faster. You know, people come in, like I watched this old video from like 10 years ago where he was helping somebody who had an idea for this toothbrush thing. And he was like, no, don't give me your business plan. Like, let's call one of your friends right now and see if they'll buy this toothbrush. Like that's like, he's like even beyond either of us in how quickly he wants to test ideas. He wants to get that $0 to $1 velocity as fast as possible, because that's, I mean, in a small way, that's product market fit to at least one person. So then you can start building on it. Whereas other people will spend years just making more and more plans and plans and plans and plans, and they never get that first dollar. They never get that velocity going. They never get those bricks that you can build on.
Yeah. Don't do that, because you can waste a lot of time and never get into the real world. Like I have so many friends that are artists or have incredible creative talent, and they'll get tripped up by perfectionism and not ever push their sculpture, their piece of art until the light of day. And I think that's such a waste. The real beauty is when you push something out there and you've done at least some of your due diligence about it, but push it out there. And oftentimes are good enough as somebody's awesome, and but it's back to the snowball. It's like we're pushing it uphill and we're trying to be methodical and scientific and smart about it, really savvy and smart about it. And it's making sure we're adjusting and putting the right experiments. You and I talk all the time. Like if we just take ads as a second, it's like, is this our best bet right now of all the options we know? Is this our best experiment we put out there? And I was telling somebody this the other day, Brad, entrepreneurs get a bad rap. It's like entrepreneurs everybody thinks are the biggest risk takers in the world.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not a risk taker. In fact, if you do it right, I think you try to minimize your risk.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where this product market fit comes into. So one thing you mentioned is like, you've seen it with me with the startup we were just talking about, is the fog, the uncertainty. You're pushing something, putting a bet out there, and you really don't know. You're going where no man or woman or person has gone before. And it can get pretty disorienting out there in the blizzard, just keeping on our snowball, analogy.
Yeah, it can feel really rough. I know a lot of people get discouraged. I've definitely been discouraged. It just feels like, you're barking up the wrong tree. You start to have self-doubt. You start to think like, because there is no confirmation, nobody is handing you money for this product yet. So you don't know. And it's your own creative thing. And you start to feel vulnerable. This is where imposter syndrome can creep in. Mm-hmm. And so you start to think, how did I ever have this idea in the first place? Nobody's going to buy this. This is ridiculous. How did I think that I would ever be able to create a product that other people would love and enjoy, or that my skill is worth someone else paying me for it, or paying me that much for it? Or, there's so many versions of this. So yeah, that fog, the blizzard, it's rough. It's like, what do you do? I mean, I think we've got some methods that we have relied on, but I think anybody listening to this call, if you've ever done something creative, if you've ever put yourself out there, this period where you're just like sitting there, waiting to click send, or waiting to click, upload, or you're, just sitting there thinking, will anybody ever buy this?
Or will people criticize me, or I'll fail or be embarrassed? And
was this a stupid idea?
Yeah. And I go from the perspective of, you never know until you push send, click the upload button, push your art out into the light of day. But now it is a fog. So you start pushing something out there, you get some feedback. I want to feel data flow coming in. But this is why I go back to why I like to have co-founders, partners, and even more than that, a team, is to bounce off stuff. So much you feel like you're in the blizzard, you're rolling the snowball, and you're like talking, but you're talking, you can hear your echo, and that's why I like to have team and partners, is because, hey, does this jive with you? I've done this with you in the last 2 weeks. It's like, we'll have a product meeting about this thing we're trying to put out there for therapists and counselors. And I'll be like, what do you think, Brad? What do you think about these packages and prices? Just because I don't want to hear my own voice in my head. I've heard it too much. I need somebody else's opinion about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you do a really good job too. And anybody, if you're applying this kind of thinking, you'll want to try to take everyone's perspective. You know, they're all going to have their own priorities. They're all going to have their own specialization skills that they're good at, that they might be able to see that you can't see, and just kind of take it all in as one, you know, and then somewhere in the middle there's going to be something amazing, right? Like,
Yeah.
your mom might have one tip on it, but you might not ultimately want to go with her full opinion on the product, right? But she might highlight something that you wouldn't have seen yourself. So
Yeah.
I always think of it that way. Like, it's like a council of
Yeah.
advisors, you know. But ultimately, it is still your decision to take all of that information, all of that good advice from people who are, you know, care about you or whatever, or work for you, or, you know, different context. But take all
Yeah.
that advice, and it's your job to put it all together and take that information and make a decision and move forward.
You said your mom, and there's a book called The Mom Test. It's really good because how to ask questions and gauge where a potential audience that you're trying to hit, to figure this out a little bit without giving away and just saying, do you like it? Because if you say to your mom, do you like it? Your mom's going to say yes.
Right.
I love it. It's
Right.
you're the most incredible person on earth. The Mom Test is a really good, actionable, helpful, practical book to get to this product. But I think the best way to figure out product market fit is put something out there with the price tag. Get people
Yep.
biting, fish in the pond. And I've been thinking about this, but my little acronym I use to find out really it's product market fit is AMP. A for audience, know who you're trying to serve, who you're trying to hit. Like even with this podcast, this is a great product market fit. We're having this conversation this week. Who are we serving with the podcast? And we brainstormed a little bit. Then I think about M for messaging. So, and then P is the product. So we're talking to an audience group, specific people in mind, understanding who they are, what they're trying to solve for, what their dreams, hopes, and aspirations, goals are, and then the messaging that connects the product to them. That's how I evaluate most of my products and this product market fit conversation, and it helps me a ton with that.
Yeah, I love that. And like we said, we're always trying to find the balance between, we love data, we love research. I love market research. I'll dig into keywords, I'll dig into, you know, ad copy, swipe files, whatever. And I love seeing real data, but at the same time, you know, sometimes you're testing out something creative and you have to try it out. So you're always trying to find that balance between data and analysis and creating something new.
Yeah.
I think the world I come from, we're even more comfortable with launching like ready, fire, aim.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think you've seen that. Like, I'm comfortable with putting up a page and sending people to it for a product that
Yeah.
doesn't exist, right?
Yeah. You're fearless in that. I thought I was fearless, but you're really fearless.
um,
And that's so interesting because putting it out there, seeing if somebody besides your mom and her cat will buy it, is a true test of a first step when we're talking about starting your snowball. And I think we're talking about all this to help people not be disheartened. Don't expect to put something out there and 100,000 people buy it the first day. First, you probably don't know 100,000 people. Second, that's like a lottery ticket in business. You're putting all your hopes on the lottery ticket that maybe one in a million. Okay, I'm going to put this out there and it might happen, and it might go for it and see, and I just don't want people to get disheartened, Brad.
Absolutely. And a lot of times you'll release things to crickets,
Yep.
We've both done that a lot, and
A lot of crickets.
I'm glad you're bringing that side up too, because sometimes you build it up in your mind. You think, okay, this is my thing. I'm an entrepreneur now. I've been watching Gary Vee for months, and I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna crush it. And then you launch your ebook or whatever, and you realize, oh wait, my blog doesn't have any visitors. I don't have any YouTube subscribers. I don't have any. A lot of people. I don't personally buy this advice, but like a lot of people are like, just post it on your Facebook page and see if your friends will buy it. Like I've never had a product that I'm like, oh hey, family member, are you interested in buying my Google AdWords advice? Like, no, they're not. But that's just me. So there's another side to it of like, it's okay. Like this is why we're doing the snowball, because that's the analogy. That's the mental model you need in your head, is this is a snowball. When you push send and you release your first something out in the world, whether it's a YouTube video, an Instagram post that is done with the intention of serving an audience or serving another human being, that's beautiful. And you should celebrate that. Like celebrate that as a victory separate from the result, right? So I guess that is part of the product market fit, because we're going to launch this crickets a lot. And you have to have a frame in mind for both, victory and education.
Yeah. I like how you didn't say defeat or failure, because it is all education. That's the purpose of product market. You're just going back to the cycle. Okay. Going back to the cycle. Here's what I learned. Okay. And trying to step into it. It's like mortar rounds. If you've ever seen that in a movie, like you're trying to dial it in, but they shoot a mortar and it comes in. Okay, let's readjust our dials, shoot another mortar, and they get closer. That's almost kind of what you're doing. I wish I had another analogy or metaphor, whatever that is, to share, but it's dialing it in. And I think, Brad, as we're kind of talking about this, I was like, there are unicorns that I see, and I think I'd name them accidental entrepreneurs. They're putting something out in the world, and it just, because they want it, because they love their art. And I'm saying art in whatever form that is. It's not necessarily like art, but they put their work out in there and somebody goes, yes. And everybody buys it. And those are more in the accidental, where they put something out cool and people, it just happens to resonate. I think that's more, there's a lot of elements in that. But for the rest of us, it's just like, we got to dial this thing in.
Yeah, that has been a frustration of mine for many years. Before I really dug in as accepting an identity as a marketer, as a career, because I was like, anyways, before I accepted that I was a marketer, I was trying to figure out what I want to do with my life. And I always got so frustrated because I heard all these people who were like, oh, you just have to follow your passion. But their passion is about sales. It's like, of course, you could release a book. Anybody can release a book about sales and people are going to pay money for it because it's directly tied to their pocketbooks, right? Like that's my example that I always saw. It's like, wow, your passion happened to be something that is in massive demand right now, right?
Right.
That's very convenient. I love that accidental entrepreneurs, because, like so many people in the software world, it's like, well, or even like in my space the past couple of years, the marketing like YouTuber space, it's like, I know I have more knowledge and skills and experience than this person, but they are a YouTuber. So they're way more successful, way faster than me, because they've been watching YouTube videos for 10 years and they've aspired to be a YouTuber. It's not that they're better at marketing than me, they're better at YouTubing. And so it was really hard for me to deal with. And I love that accidental entrepreneurs, like sometimes your passion and the market demand, that AMP thing, it all lines up perfectly and it just works. And you get product market fit without even, because you're already in that market or something. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah,
your art and what the market wants are the same thing.
Yeah. And you hit timing wise. That's why I kind of think of it as a lottery ticket. Like, not going to take anything away from Bill Gates and Steve Jobs and Woz and all those people at the front of the computer revolution. They also benefited from a wave of people that came before them, but they hit a wave and they were ready for the wave and they were right for the wave and they rode the wave big time. And then there's other equally gifted. I've met entrepreneurs that just didn't hit their wave, but they made the most of the one they rode. And that's where it's, we're getting back. I want to get back to product market fit,
Yeah.
but is seeing that, looking for the waves, putting your best, water on the board, getting out to the wave and trying to meet it there and seeing how it turns out. And it doesn't always turn out the way it is. That's my point in all this. It doesn't, 9 times out of 10, from my experiences, never turns out the way it does. It's the thing I do aside from it that I don't give a lot of thought to. That's not my brilliant idea. That's the one like, holy crap, did you see this happening over here? I've got case studies of that, where things that wasn't my brilliant strategy. It was the things that I just happened to be in the world doing things. And this was like almost a byproduct. And that's the thing that hit.
Yeah. Doing things. That's the key part, is you were putting stuff out there.
Mm-hmm.
And, in our analogy, we're pushing the snowball. We're just like showing up, pushing the snowballs, do another round, put out another podcast, write another blog article, put it out on YouTube, launch another product, write another, book. Like, just keep
Otherwise,
doing
you're never
it.
going to know.
And
Exactly.
you get happy little accidents. You discover.
Exactly. Discovery. And you're never going to know until you put it out there. Now you should try to take out the risk as best you can. But if it's risk of embarrassment and things like that, I'm not talking about losing your job, but risk of embarrassment or risk of criticism, man, get over it. If you really believe in what you're doing and want to do, and that's why we were kind of playing with some taglines for this, is like earn, side hustle your way to van life, to freedom, to whatever that thing is. You can start your snowball, do the hard work where you keep your day job, going uphill where there's blizzards some days, but you have something of worth. And I just know things take time. Product market fit takes time. Whatever you think it's going to be, multiply it by 10.
That's hard for me.
I know.
Yeah.
But you're also someone that clicks publish or send or put something out there. And that's the people that, that's where the action happened. Luck meets you there in action. Luck meets you in action, not in stasis. Maybe you hit the lottery ticket, but for me, I go, how do I manipulate luck to be mine? Yeah. And it's by putting things out in the world, like we're talking about, trying to find market fit, always be watching, always be ready, talking to good people, bouncing things off each other.
Yes. And watching the results. I guess that's the second piece, right?
Yeah.
And that's why we both love data. That's why we both love, analytics and sales tracking. Like, that's the other mistake people make with product market fit. You might have already found product market fit, but you just don't even see it because you're not watching the data. You don't know what's happening behind the scenes. You're not tracking what are the articles on my blog that the most people have been clicking on. Wow, I didn't know, or what, if you're running a established business, what's this product that's outselling everything by this weirdly high margin that we're not even putting any of our focus on, because we're focused on this product that we all thought was going to be the next success, right? So the second half of this is, when you're testing, you also want to pay attention to the data. If you're doing YouTube videos, put out 10, 20, 30, 40 YouTube videos, whatever. But then over the next few weeks, watch, because one of those videos will start to tick up faster than the others.
Yeah.
In my experience.
Absolutely. Well, so that's got to be our part 2 for this, because we need to spend a whole time just talking about, once you put it out there, and we're trying to encourage you that it takes time, put it out there, see how things hit, test your snowball. Your snowball is going to go in different directions. I almost promise you that. And next time is, I think, for us to review the data, because I was thinking about this keyword called sermon background graphics back in the day when I was doing my first blog, click publish on it. And I found this keyword and did it, and I get all these downloads. That's cool. That's why we call the business one of the best video games ever, because it's just a fun gig to have. Well, I think, Brad, we've covered a lot, but I want to save some so we can kind of focus on this next, which, you carved out so brilliantly, and it really jives with we both love it, but it jives with where you are in your station as a growth hacker and entrepreneur. Is like you're loving to see that you're putting together your scoreboards and your leaderboards and you're mining your data. So any final thoughts about the product market fit and what we talked today that we might have missed?
I like that keep launching and keep trying things. You'll know. That's something that I've heard from more advanced like VC startup people, but also I've experienced and we've experienced together in a couple projects. When something clicks, you'll know. You won't have to guess. When you find that product that takes off, sales will start coming in. Whatever magic you were looking for in starting the side hustle, the business, like once you find that thing that clicks, the product market fit, you'll know.
Yeah.
You won't have to. I guess I just said you might not
Yeah.
know, right? If you have a more established business, if you're not watching, but if you're watching the stats, you'll know. You'll see. If you're watching your sales, you're gonna know which product is hitting or which blog post is taking off or which YouTube video is taking off.
Yeah. And I think just some reminders, it takes time. It takes time when you when you get past yourself and put your fears and worries, put things out in the world. It takes longer than most of us impatient people that you ever wondered. But to me, if you know why you're doing it and what you're doing it for, it makes it so much better. It helps you stay with it for the long haul. And then, as Brad's so good at saying too, and watching is seeing what turns up. But I wish you the best in the meantime on as you build your snowball, start your snowball, work on your experiments, and get through your blizzards. Golly, I'm throwing all kinds of stuff in there. But Brad, you want to wrap us up?
Well, yeah, just hang in there, and if you need any help with this, then check out startthesnowball.com. We've got a growing community there, and we are happy to answer questions. So go to subscribe to the Start the Snowball podcast wherever you find podcasts. However you heard this, go check it out, subscribe, and go to startthesnowball.com.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you next time.